Good morning, students. Today we will be discussing yet another topic of periodontia. The topic is periodontal pocket. As I have already told you, it's a very important topic in our perio. This lecture is for dental student, third year and final year students. Question paper or important questions that will be there from this topic is given here on the screen. So first of all, we'll have a look into the content of the topic. First of all, we'll be seeing this introduction, definition, classification, clinical sign and symptom, diagnosis, pathogenesis, content of the pocket, peri-implant probing. Now coming on to the introduction. Periodontitis is an inflammatory disease of the supporting tissue of the teeth caused by specific microorganism or group of specific microorganism resulting in progressive destruction of periodontal ligament, alveolar bone with pocket formation, recession or both. So what will be there in periodontitis? In periodontitis there will be pocket formation or recession or combination of both. So what is pocket formation? Before we go into the detail of pocket formation, let us see what will be there in a healthy condition. In healthy condition, junctional epithelium in the gingiva lies at cemento-enamel junction. This is cemento-enamel junction, and junctional epithelium in healthy condition, it lies at the cemento-enamel junction, one thing. And all the structures of the gingiva and periodontal ligament, they are intact, and alveolar bone is also intact. But if because of plaque and calculus pocket develops, the clinical picture will be, first of all, the gingival sulcus, it will deepen. The gingival sulcus depth, which was in healthy condition 2 to 3 mm, as seen in this side, this depth will be deepened in the pocket. The junctional epithelium, which was initially at cemento-enamel junction, like this, in this opposite side, where it is in healthy condition, lies at cemento-enamel junction. In disease side, it is moved apically, and there is inflammation in the gingival tissues, and because of plaque and the calculus, there is bone loss, loss of periodontal ligament. So this is the pocket formation. So what is pocket? Pocket is, it is the deepening of gingival sulcus. So it is the pathological deepening of gingival sulcus is known as pocket. So coming on to the definition. Definition of pocket is, it is pathological deepening of gingival sulcus. But whenever I go through the papers, I have seen that students write only the definition is deepening of gingival sulcus. I don't know why they forgot writing pathological deepening. So P for pocket, P for pathological deepening. So don't just write it is the deepening of gingival sulcus. Write it is pathological deepening of gingival sulcus. And it is one of the most important clinical feature of periodontal disease. Now coming on to the clinical signs. Bluish red thickened marginal gingiva because of inflammation. Bluish red vertical zone from the gingival margin to alveolar mucosa. Gingival recession might be there. Gingival bleeding and suppuration will be there. Tooth mobility and diastema formation will be there. Symptoms. This is usually a painless condition. See, I am putting emphasis on painless. Yes, the disease is usually painless, but sometimes localized pain or radiating pain may be there. Or patient might complain of pain deep in the bone. Sensitivity might be there, foul taste, patient might feel the teeth is loose, feeling of itching in the gum. So important symptoms are, it is usually painless, but sometimes localized pain or pain deep in the bone. Sensitivity, foul taste, teeth loose, feeling of itchiness in the gum. Coming on to the classification of periodontal pocket. On the basis of destruction of the tissues, gingival pocket and periodontal pocket. The other name of gingival pocket is pseudo pocket or false pocket. As the name suggests, false pocket, pseudo pocket, gingival pocket, that means actually there will be no pocket formation, but the depth of the sulcus is deepened because of increase in the size of gingiva. The gingival margin, it is moved, see, this is the gingival margin and it is moved coronally. It is moving toward the surface of crown, and this depth, this pocket depth that is there, sorry, the depth of the sulcus that is increased, it is because of the increase in the or movement of gingival margin coronally. But underlying structure, they are still intact. There is no breakdown of the tissues. So this is known as gingival pocket. This is caused by increase in the size of gingiva only. Gingival pocket or pseudo pocket. It's not true pocket because underlying structures are still intact. Next is periodontal pocket. As the name suggests, there will be breakdown of periodontal ligament. This is also known as true pocket. This type of pocket occurs with the destruction of periodontal tissues. One more thing I would like to tell you, that whenever I go through the papers, I have noticed that students sometimes write, there are three classifications. First is gingival pocket, second is periodontal pocket, and next is combination of pocket. So please do remember, there is no such classification known as combination of pocket. Because if destruction of tissues, underlying periodontal tissues, they are destroyed, then the pocket will be, yes, periodontal pocket. We cannot say that it is a combination pocket. So please do remember that there are only two, there are two classifications on the basis of destruction of tissues. Sorry, one classification, gingival pocket, pseudo pocket or false pocket. Second is periodontal pocket. There is no such terminology called combination of pocket. So this is normal sulcus showing the depth of nearly approximately 3 mm, and this is the case of false pocket. The pocket depth is there 5 mm, but it is due to increase in the size of gingiva that is there. Underlying tissues are still intact. On the basis of level of bone, suprabony, supracrestal or supraalveolar, as the name suggests, supra, above the bone. Bottom of the pocket is coronal to underlying alveolar bone. Infrabony or intrabony, supracrestal or intraalveolar. Bottom of the pocket is apical to the level of adjacent alveolar bone. Supracrestal, it's not written, it is wrong, it should not be supracrestal, it should be infracrestal. Sorry, there is a mistake in this slide. Yes, this is suprabony. So we have to see two important things. First is the level of, at the base of the pocket, and the level of bone. This is the base of the pocket and level of bone. Since the base of the pocket is above the level of alveolar bone, this is suprabony. And now the next condition, base of the pocket and level of the bone. In this condition, the base of the pocket is apical to the alveolar bone. So this is the level of alveolar bone and this is the base of the pocket. So this base of the pocket is apical to the adjacent alveolar bone. So this is infraalveolar. Differences between suprabony and infrabony pocket. Supracrestal, or it is also known as supracrestal or supraalveolar. Infrabony is also known as infracrestal or intraalveolar pocket. In suprabony, bottom of the pocket is coronal to underlying alveolar bone and lateral wall consists of soft tissue alone. Let us see. Lateral wall consists of soft tissue wall only. This is lateral wall. But in infrabony, the lateral wall, it has not only the soft tissue but also the bone. So lateral wall consists of soft tissue only. Horizontal bone loss will be there. Transseptal fiber arranged horizontally. Infrabony pocket, infracrestal or intra-alveolar pocket. Bottom of the pocket is apical to the crest of alveolar bone. Lateral wall consists of soft tissue and bone. Vertical bone loss is there and transseptal fiber are oblique arranged. Now, next classification of pocket is simple, compound and complex. In simple, only one surface is involved. In compound, it involves more than one surface. Complex or spiral originate in one tooth surface and twisting around the tooth to involve one or more additional surface, but open into the oral cavity on the surface of origin. But students sometimes what they write, pocket is classified as simple, compound, complex and spiral. This is one and only same thing. Complex is also known as spiral. Please note that pocket is divided on the basis of surfaces involved, simple, compound and complex. Classification on the basis of healing. Edematous pocket wall, if inflammatory components are there. Fibrotic, if newly formed connective tissue cell, they are predominating over the inflammatory cell. Pathogenesis. Healthy gingiva is associated with few microorganisms, mostly cocoid cell and straight rod. Diseased gingiva is associated with increased number of spirochetes and motile rod. So initially, there are only few microorganisms in the oral cavity and that too are mostly gram-positive rods and cocci. But as the plaque mature, the number of gram-negative bacteria and spirochetes, motile rod, they all increase. Moreover, the bacteria infiltrate into underlying connective tissue. So inflammation will be there in underlying connective tissue. And just apical to junctional epithelium, collagen fiber are destroyed and area became occupied with inflammatory cell and edema. Let us see how. And I'll be explaining you all this thing diagrammatically. First of all, let us see what is the mechanism. Two main mechanisms of collagen loss is there of underlying connective tissues. First is collagenase. Collagenase is secreted by polymorphonuclease neutrophil and as well as by the bacteria. Collagenase in the form of matrix metalloproteinase, it will break down the collagen that is there. And another mechanism is fibroblast. Fibroblast that is there, which is responsible for the maintenance of collagen, it will break down the collagen fiber. And when collagen fiber apical to junctional epithelium get destroyed, then epithelial cell proliferate along the root surface in apical direction and hence pocket formation will be there. So let us see the diagrammatic representation. This is junctional epithelium. So the junctional epithelium cells or keratinocyte that are there, the cells that are there, the cells are united to one another by desmosomal junction. These are desmosomal junction. And the cells are having hemidesmosomal contacts near the underlying connective tissue side, as well as hemidesmosomal junction near the surface of cementum or near the surface of tooth. But they are connected to one another by desmosomal junctions. And in healthy condition, always 1 to 2% of neutrophil they are in the epithelium. And the junctional epithelium, it remains at cemento-enamel junction, and it does not have any red apex or finger-like projections. But as the number of bacteria increase, so because of chemotactic gradient, the number of neutrophil will also increase, and when the number of neutrophil reaches to approximately 60 to 80%, so what will happen? The neutrophil that is there, since they are not united to one another by desmosomal junction, and increase in the number of neutrophil will lead to decrease in the number of desmosome and hemidesmosomal junction, like this. And these desmosome, the number of desmosome are getting reduced, so the integrity of epithelium is not being maintained, and because of this, and there will be finger-like projection in the junctional epithelium, and because of breakdown of collagen fiber that is just apical to the junctional epithelium, because of these two mechanisms, the loss of underlying connective tissue or collagen just apical to the junctional epithelium, and because of the reduction in the number of desmosomal junction that was there, the junctional epithelium, it will move down apically. In this diagram, I have shown you the changes that will be there in the epithelium. I have divided the pathogenesis of pocket in first what will be there in the epithelium. So I have tried to explain you what all will be there in the epithelium, and now I will be explaining you what will be there in underlying connective tissue. This is junctional epithelium. This is the junctional epithelium is lying at cemento-enamel junction. These are the fiber, the dentogingival fiber of the gingiva, and these are circular fibers, collagen fiber of the gingiva. These are circular fibers of the gingiva. So because of increasing number of bacteria and neutrophil, the neutrophil and bacteria, they will liberate matrix metalloproteinase, I have already explained you, which lead to breakdown of collagen fiber. These collagen fiber will be broken down, and because of this, the epithelium, this junctional epithelium, it will move apically, and slowly deepening of sulcus will be there, and hence pocket formation will be there. Now in the second diagram, more of bacteria is there in the connective tissue as well as epithelium, and because of increasing number of bacteria and neutrophil, so they will secrete more of matrix metalloproteinase or collagenase. Because of the collagenase, breakdown of collagen will be there, and hence the underlying the overlying epithelium, it will follow the underlying connective tissue and it will move apically. After the loss of collagen, the apical cell of junctional epithelium proliferate along the root, extending finger-like projections. Initially, it was not, junctional epithelium was not having any projections, but now when inflammation will be there, it will be having finger-like projection, and it will slowly move apically, and hence pocket formation will be there. Sulcus of the bottom shift apically. Degeneration and necrosis of junctional epithelium impair rather than accelerate pocket formation. If necrosis of junctional epithelium will be there, then pocket formation will not take place. For example, the condition necrotizing ulcerative gingivitis and necrotizing ulcerative periodontitis, because of the necrosis of junctional epithelium, no pocket formation will be there. It's very important that in necrotizing ulcerative periodontitis, pocket formation will not be there. Now, initially, the plaque was having few microorganisms that too gram positive, but as the plaque mature, more of the gram negative bacteria will be there. See, I have made this diagrammatic representation of bacteria, although it is smiley, but this is what I have tried to show, that these are bacteria. And the bacteria, they cross the junctional epithelium, they infiltrate underlying connective tissue. So the bacteria, in order to flourish, they try to they will secrete more of matrix metalloproteinase, and breakdown of collagen fiber will be there. And just because the bacteria is the bacteria, they are enjoying the collagen fiber that is there, so it seems that bacteria is very happy. And because of both the mechanism, neutrophil and the bacteria, they both are secreting matrix metalloproteinase, but maximum amount of MMPs is secreted by neutrophil. Moreover, fibroblasts, they both the process are acting on the collagen fiber, which lead to destruction of collagen fiber. And if the inflammation progress further, then the inflammatory component, it will act on the bone, which lead to resorption of bone. Bacteria, it is still smiling because the bacteria want to now have a lunch from this bone. So what will the bacteria do? It will secrete various collagenase, interleukins, tumor necrotic factor, and most important, prostaglandin E2. Prostaglandin E2. These prostaglandin E2, it will act on osteoclast. Osteoclast, once it get activated, this is osteoclast that I have tried to draw, multinucleated osteoclast. It will act on the surface of bone, and hence resorption will be there. That is why the bacteria seems so happy. Histology of the pocket. Let us have a quick look into the histology of periodontal pocket. The junctional epithelium cell, no finger-like projection, I am repeatedly telling you, lies in healthy condition at cemento-enamel junction, no finger-like projections. But when inflammation is there, in inflammation with epithelial ridges, then once inflammation will be there, then finger-like projections start forming in the junctional epithelium, and gingival fibers. These gingival fibers, dentogingival fiber, they are destroyed. Moreover, the gingiva that is there, it is getting swollen because of inflammation that is there. Now, inflammation progress further, epithelial ridges. See, epithelial further finger-like projections, they are there in the junctional epithelium. Moreover, the ulceration is seen over here. See, over here, the break in the continuity of epithelium is there. These are micro ulceration of the pocket epithelium that is there. And apical migration of junctional epithelium from cemento-enamel junction, it is moving apically because of the two mechanisms, one that is taking place in the epithelium and underlying connective tissues. And then bone loss will be there. I have explained you the mechanism of bone loss, and once you know the mechanism of collagen and bone loss, then you can easily modulate the bone resorption as well as collagen destruction. Here is another important diagram to understand. So this area is magnified. Here we can see the calculus, attached plaque, unattached plaque, and because the unattached plaque, it contains bacteria which migrate across this epithelium and underlying connective tissue, and because of this inflammation will be there. But the important thing is that junctional epithelium always remain intact. It is not getting necrosed. For pocket formation, junctional epithelium will always be there, although the zone of junctional epithelium is initially it was 500 micron meter. It is reduced to 100 micron meter in the case of periodontal pocket. So The surface morphology of tooth wall of periodontal pocket is given here on the screen. But the important thing to remember is junctional epithelium always remain intact. Although number is drastically reduced, it might have ulceration, it might have finger-like projection, but it will always be there. Changes on the root surface. As the pocket deepened, collagen fiber embedded in the cementum are destroyed. Cementum became exposed to the oral environment. Remnant of Sharpey's fiber in the cementum undergo degeneration, creating a favorable environment for bacterial penetration, and which lead to fragmentation and breakdown of cementum surface, resulting in area of necrotic cementum or altered cementum, which gets separated from the surface of tooth. And moreover, this is a painful condition for the patient. Let us have a look into that, what exactly will be there in the root surface wall. Initially, when there is no pocket formation and all the periodontal ligament fiber, they are properly covered in their own original space. But when pocket formation is there, collagen fiber, they are destroyed, and this junctional epithelium, it's moving apically. The cementum that is exposed to the oral cavity, we can see the periodontal ligament fiber, these are destroyed. They are exposed to the oral cavity. Cementum is exposed to the oral cavity, and the area where this remnant of Sharpey's fiber, they are there. Bacteria, as I've already told you, I have already seen you in the diagram that the bacteria, they flourish on the collagen, they like eating the collagen, so they will follow these Sharpey's fiber, and they will see. I have made a cavity in the surface of cementum because they will slowly and slowly eat the fibers, and once the fiber collagen fiber is gone, then a cavity will be there, so bacteria can happily reside in these cavities. So this is how the cementum that is getting exposed to the oral cavity, what will happen to the cementum. But later on, what will happen? Since the cementum is exposed to the oral cavity, there will be cracks in the cementum. There will be cracks in the cementum and cavitation in the cementum. See, there is a cavitation in the cementum. This white I have tried to show that these are cavitation in the cementum. This is known as this cementum, the cementum that is having bacteria, toxins of the bacteria, and having altered mineral content. This cementum is known as necrotic cementum or altered cementum. So whenever we are doing root planning, we try to get rid of this altered cementum. Because of this altered cementum, patient might have pain or sensitivity. Decalcification and remineralization of cementum, area of increased mineralization and area of demineralization. First of all, we'll see area of increased mineralization, probably a result of an exchange or exposure of oral cavity of mineral and organic component at the cementum and saliva interface. There will be exchange of minerals at the cementum and saliva interface. The mineral content of exposed cementum increase. The minerals that are increased in diseased root surface include calcium, magnesium, phosphorus and fluoride. Micro hardness, however, remain unchanged. The development of highly mineralized superficial layer may increase tooth resistance to decay. Area of demineralization or root caries. Exposure to oral fluid and bacterial plaque result in proteolysis of embedded remnant of Sharpey's fiber that I have already tried to explain you how by secretion of matrix metalloproteinase the collagen fiber, it is getting destroyed by the proteolysis of embedded Sharpey's fiber. Cementum may become softened, undergo fragmentation, cavitation will be there. So now coming on to the microtopography of gingival wall as seen in scanning electron microscope, there will be area of relative concerns, bacteria accumulation, emergence of leukocyte bacterial interaction, and once interaction will be there, more of matrix metalloproteinase and more of prostaglandin E2 will be there, more of destruction will be there, and hence pocket will progress further and further. area of intense epithelial desquamation, area of ulceration, area of hemorrhage with numerous erythrocytes. Periodontal pocket is a healing lesion. Pocket is a chronic lesion and thus undergoing repair. Complete healing does not occur because of persistent of bacterial attack. Edematous pocket wall. I guess I have already discussed this. Pocket content. Debris mostly microorganisms and their products. So what will be there in the pocket? This is an important question. Mostly microorganisms and leukocytes, because it's a kind of war, as I already told you, it's a war going on between the bacteria and the leukocyte that is there. So most important component will be bacteria, microorganisms and their products, and then leukocyte. Apart from that, gingival fluid, salivary mucins, food remnants and desquamated epithelial cell. Significance of pus formation. Pus is there. Pus is a common feature of periodontal disease, but it's only a secondary sign. It reflects the inflammatory changes going on in the pocket wall. Diagnosis by proper probing and radiograph. Only reliable method of locating pocket is careful probing of gingival margin along each tooth surface. Pocket probing. Two different pocket depth, biological and clinical probing depth. Biological, distance between gingival margin and the base of the pocket. Clinical probing depth, distance to which a probe penetrates in the pocket. Standard force for penetration of probe is 25 pounds, 25 gram or 0.75 Newton. This is very important to remember. Standard force for the penetration of probe is 25 pounds, 25 grams or 0.75 Newton. The probe in normal sulcus penetrates about 1/3 the length of junctional epithelium, but in the case of pocket it goes further in the connective tissue because of inflammation that is there. And probing around the implant is done with the help of plastic probe. Now let's have a look into the how to tabulate the differences between the healthy gingiva, gingivitis and periodontitis. It seems let us see. I'm a bit tired. Healthy gingiva color will be pink, and gingivitis red, periodontitis bluish red. Consistency in healthy firm, gingivitis edematous, periodontitis firm or edematous. Gingival margin scalloped, knife edge in healthy condition. In gingivitis, swollen and not knife edge, but depending upon the condition. Periodontitis, it is not knife edge because of inflammation that is there. Interdental papilla. In healthy gingiva form, it occupies the embrasure space, and in gingivitis, it is bulbous, swollen, and periodontitis, it might not fill embrasure space. Bleeding on probing in healthy gingiva is not there. In gingivitis, it will be there. Periodontitis, yes, it will be there. Junctional epithelium, I have repeatedly been telling you that it lies at the cement enamel junction. Gingivitis, yes, do. But in periodontitis, apical to the cement enamel junction. Probing depth 1 to 3 millimeter. Gingivitis greater than 3 millimeter due to increase in the size of gingiva. Periodontitis greater than 4 millimeter due to destruction of underlying connective tissues. Junctional epithelium 0.25 to 1.35 millimeter, but or 500 micrometer. It is decreased, length is decreased in gingivitis, but in periodontitis it's further reduced to 100 micrometer, 50 to 100 micrometer. And junctional epithelium does not have red apex, but it will be there in gingivitis and periodontitis. Periodontal ligament will be intact in healthy gingivitis, but it not be there in periodontitis. It will be destroyed in periodontitis. Cementum. Cementum is not exposed in healthy condition as well as in gingivitis, but it is exposed. It is getting altered, necrosed in periodontitis. In healthy gingiva, polymorphonucleus neutrophil is 1 to 2% in junctional epithelium, but in gingivitis it is increased. And in periodontitis, there will be heavy infiltration. The percentage can go up to 60 to 80%. Alveolar bone is intact. Gingivitis is still intact, but in periodontitis, destruction will be there. Either horizontal or vertical pattern will be seen. But in bacteria, healthy, few microorganisms, mostly gram-positive, and that too are aerobic. In gingivitis, increase in the number of bacteria, gram-positive, mostly aerobic. But in periodontitis, mostly anaerobic, spirochete, gram-negative, and the count is drastically increased. Thank you so much.